Okay. So, Clay, we started the year with Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, which is crazy to think about. It feels like so long ago. And now we're going
Yeah.
to end the year with Acquired Taste.
Did we, was it really literally in January? Was it December or was it
It
January?
was January or maybe
Oh my
February. It was
gosh.
February.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's a little blurry to think back that far, but for some reason I had it in December in my head, but I guess people had to would have had to read it first. So I guess it had to be like after the thing came out.
Yeah. You've had three books come out this year
Yeah, in a graphic novel, which
in a
I don't know
graphic
if
novel.
that counts,
And
but
yeah, and a lot of short stories too.
yeah, yeah. Um, this was the year of trying really hard to get stuff out there, like try to get people reading my stuff. And I think it might be too much. I think a lesson I've learned is that like you can flood the marketplace, and that might not be the best thing, but I had I wanted to tell these stories and come
I
up.
I I disagree. I don't think it was too much. I mean, I think some of our like I'm thinking of like Josh and Stephen Graham Jones. I mean, those are very prolific writers who put out a lot of stuff too, and I think
Yeah.
that you're in good company with that.
So it's funny because like the names that always get kind of bandied about is Stephen Graham Jones and Eric LaRocca.
Yeah.
How like, you know, Eric will publish like two or three books a year, or and Stephen will sometimes put two books in one book, and like, um, and I don't know, like I have no idea, no thought guiding me through this, but like, um. Everybody kind of talks about like we're living in like the horror bubble right now,
Yeah.
and you want to believe that that bubble is sturdy and stable, because there's a lot that's getting out there, and yeah, it's a little. I wouldn't say it's like nerve-wracking. I mean, it is nerve-wracking on a kind of commercial professional level, but like it's always like, is this the end? Is this bubble gonna burst? Like, are we like are readers gonna stop reading this stuff? It's terrifying.
I don't think so. I mean, I hear you and I would get why it'd be terrifying, but I don't think it's like a true bubble in the fact that like it's gonna burst and people are gonna stop reading horror.
Yeah.
Um, so also congratulations on Kill Your Darling winning a This Is Horror award.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Isn't that wild? We get to end 2025 and begin 2026 with a book that came out in 2024, getting that little shout out. That was super awesome. Um, I feel like that one is like so like small that I and I think that's a good thing. That's the value of it, that it is just this like really kind of small thing. Um, so when anybody finds it, whenever, when whether regardless of what it is, like it just really makes me happy because um, you just never know how far these books go. Um, and stuff like what happened today was definitely like a nice little kind of felt like a little like a just like a little boost.
I love that book so much. So
Yeah,
I was really happy to see it. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it is like it is really sad. Like it really messed me up, but I really
yeah,
enjoyed it at the same time.
yeah. It's a doozy. I- but I don't know. Like I don't know. Like there are no favorites here, but like that one to me, I'll just always have a kind of soft spot for that one because it it had the really like the longest, toughest road to hoe, uh, where just nobody wanted it. Cork didn't want it. They like accepted it. Like I pitched it to them, and they said, "Yeah, that sounds like it was supposed to be the book I wrote after the remaking." Uh, and I had pitched it, and they were like, "This sounds good." And then I wrote like the first 10,000 words of it, and they were like, "Never mind, nope." And they were like, "We want something else from you because this feels too." uh, bleak. They didn't say it was too bleak. They thought it was going to be more ghosty, more supernatural,
Oh, yeah.
and it isn't. Um, and then I submitted it. Uh, Nightfire had a like an open call submission thing on their website, which is wild. Where like for like a period of like a window, they were like, send us your unsolicited manuscripts, and just
Oh,
like on a
wow.
whim, I like sent it to them, and it was one of those uh submittables or Moasca, like one of the kind of sites that's like that basically kind of like you can see where you are in the queue. And I kid you not, for like nearly a year, like 10 to 11 months, it was at the number one, like you're to be read, like you are in the number, like you're next, basically.
Oh my
And it just
gosh.
like stayed there for 10, almost 11 months. And then they finally got back to me and they're like, nah.
Oh
and,
my.
and and then Bad Hand came around and they, thank God.
I think it all worked out. I think
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
makes sense where it landed.
Totally.
So we're here to talk about acquired taste. I have to say, I will say this, I'm not the biggest short story fan. I it's hard for me, but you do them so well that I love this collection.
Mm.
So I think there's a few writers that I trust with short stories. You're one, Steven's one, Josh is one, but pretty much everyone else, I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't think I can get into this. It's going to be hard. This collection makes me, I mean, a lot of them are just, they really push me as a reader because at times, like, some of them are so uncomfortable to get through that it is like almost to me redefining horror. And so I'm curious because there's a lot of themes throughout all the stories here. There's themes about parenthood, grief, loss. I mean, I know you're a big reader. Do you use horror both as a reader and a writer to work through some of the emotions that you face when it comes to these topics?
Oh, oh, absolutely. 100%. I'm in almost to a detriment. I mean, like I'm just kind of playing out my own neuroses and fears, particularly with the parenthood stuff. But that's just I mean, like, I have two kids, and they are the world to me, and I I just can continue to cast them in these little kind of private horror movies where and it's awful because, and I hope they never read my stuff, or I hope I'm dead by the time they're like time to crack open one of dad's books, because they're going to read about themselves, but they're going to read about themselves being like awful things happening to them. They're going to be like, this is what he was doing all that time, and they're gonna be so pissed because I'm like stealing from their life uh, and filtering it through my own kind of perspective, and like I'm just like, it's the worst. I'm a terrible dad.
No, you're not.
No, but
No.
it's like, and I'm hiding it from them. That's the thing. Like they don't know. They don't know yet.
Will you ever, do you think you'll ever tell them, like, hey, by the way?
Well, it's so funny because like, okay, just as an example, the other day, my eldest son, eighth grade, he was in the school-wide spelling bee. He was like in his middle school spelling bee, and he made it through his class to make it to the school-wide competition, and he flared out so fast, like maybe 1 2 rounds, and then he was down. But like parents were invited, I went, and there was this, I mean, basically, like, as soon as my son was out, I was kind of like, I'm stuck here, I have to watch this, like this spelling bee play out for round upon round upon round. um and and there was this one girl uh who was good, but 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 not. I mean, I'm not gonna say great, but like she was getting further and further along, and she was very excited about it. And then she got out, and all of that excitement. basically just like crashed, and she was visibly like distraught, sad, like just like cried and like couldn't face the audience. Like that's the other thing. Like it's almost like cruel because like basically once you're out in this spelling bee, like you have to sit on stage and kind of face the audience watching you and everybody else. And this poor girl, she was just like sitting there the whole time, like couldn't face us, like looked kind of like to the side and just was like she was like crying. Like the girl next to her was like patting her on the back. And like I'm watching this, and this is the show that I'm like like this is the drama of the moment. I'm like, this is fundamentally like more enthralling and heartbreaking because it's real human drama, real human emotion playing out. Like my son, like who cares? Like he was like he got out by archipelago and like he was done. But like here's this thing that I'm witnessing that I would not have had the opportunity to witness otherwise. And kind of very incidentally, I was just like, oh, here's a story. Like this is I'm gonna write this. Like this is now like a seed for something. And so like I took it and did my own thing with it. I'm sorry, this is a long story.
No.
Um, but like I wrote a story about this thing that happened that I just so happened to witness, and kind of took it in my own path. But then, just on kind of a whim, I'm like walking with my son, and I was like, "Hey, you remember like that the spelling bee and like, do you remember that girl? And who's that girl?" And I was like, "I wrote a story about her and about that thing." And my son was like, "You did what?" And I was like, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's not really her. It's like inspired by and like, but it was like, you can't. It was just like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have permission, you don't have consent to take like my life or even tangentially. And I was just like, all of a sudden, I was just like, oh, oh. And then like all of a sudden, I'm just thinking of like everything I have written for the last 13 years that he has yet to be privy to. And I'm like, oh fuck, I am screwed when that day comes because he's gonna be like, that's me, that's me, and he's gonna be like, God damn you, Dad. Like you're dead to me. He
He
will
may think
not
it
put me in a home. He will not take care of me. I will be like kicked to the curb with a blanket, and I will be and he'll be like, this is what you get, Dad. Hope those royalty checks cashed in because you're not getting any hospice care.
I maybe his opinion on it will change as he gets older.
Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, speaking of pushback, were there any stories in this book that you got any pushback from Titan? Because there are a few that I was like, oh wow, okay, he definitely went there. Like Pump and Dump.
Did that
That's
really, did that one go there?
I thought so. Or Baby Carrots.
Did that go there?
I think they all kind of go there, if I'm honest.
Okay. Well, all right.
I mean, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Like, but I'm like, or I mean, like, who brings a baby like that? Like, they're all kind of like, wow, okay, all
But
right.
is that, I mean, okay, like you brought up what wake up and open your eyes. And I feel like wake up and open your eyes just goes everywhere and
Yeah.
anywhere. And it's basically like a kind of vulgar, kind of like playing with your potty, kind of like smear it against the wall and see what sticks kind of book. But is acquired taste like is it, it doesn't feel like it's that like I feel
Mm,
like if you were like to say, oh, wake up and open your eyes goes there, I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right. But like it does acquired taste like it doesn't feel like
No, I think it's I mean I think it goes there, but it feels very smart and thoughtful in how it goes there. But I
mhm.
think it definitely is like pushing a boundary. And I don't think that's a bad
Really?
thing. Like I think it's a great thing and also like a testament to your writing that you're able to accomplish it where it doesn't feel like it's like, oh, I don't want to read this.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of the subject matters, it's kind of dark.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
I'm wrong. I mean, maybe people in the call might disagree. Okay, I see people shaking their heads.
it's so funny because I will also cop to like my barometer is probably like super askew at this point. So like what is going there for me anymore is like I don't know. Um, but like to me, like acquired taste feels very much like very kind of like quaint and like kind of like beep-a-doop. Like
I
just
don't,
little
yeah, I don't think I'd use the word quaint.
just
Like
like I don't
that makes
know.
me feel like I'm gonna read about like English manners and like ladies and lords. Like
Yeah. But like does it I mean yeah, I mean pump and dump. Okay, where am I going to go with this? Okay, so for context, 25 stories, uh, all but one of them was published somewhere else previously. Like they were, like this collection was in fact collected from magazines and online publications and anthology. Like it like all the stories had a home somewhere else. And uh when Titan, because I pitched Quirk a book, and they were kind of like, they were like interested, but they kept like kind of pushing they're like, we'll talk about it after this book, or we'll talk about it after that book. And so it just kept getting kind of punted down the road a little bit, and I got really kind of anxious. Um, and then Titan started kind of publishing the UK editions of a lot of my books and it was really cool because I got to meet the editors there, and they started talking about like, a kind of what else have you got? Like, let's, maybe there come the day when we could do something original. And I was like, I really, really want to do a short story collection. And my first book ever was a collection of short stories. Like they're like Acquired Taste is in theory my third book of short stories. And in some alternate reality, some other kind of version of my life, like I I would I started off doing nothing but writing short stories. Like all I ever wanted to do was just write these weird first person narrative kind of like punk Edgar Allan Poe kind of stories that were like all from the perspective of like a person whose mental well-being is you might not know that kind of going into the story, but by the end you're kind of like this person should not be I should not be talking to this person. um but like the industry like nobody wants to read short stories and nobody wants to publish short stories, so like this whole kind of like dream of like doing nothing but writing short stories for a living was like waylaid by like if you want to publish and if you want to be in this world you have to write novels, and I had never wanted to do that. um but then I was like I want to tell stories, so I have to tell longer stories, and I had to learn how to do that. And a lot of my first novels were like learning how not to write novels. But which is all to say that like short stories kind of hold this like place near and dear to me because uh that's really all I wanted to do for the longest time. And I had to evolve and learn and like grow and try long form writing. So when but like in between and like other book projects, like there would always be this like opportunity to like write a little story. And the stories in that are collected in Acquired Taste is in essence from 2017-ish to 2020 something or other, 22 or 3 or 4. um we almost got Mr. Butler in there, which is in this anthology called The Darkest Night. But like so like 20 God, that was like 2024. Like that was the cutoff. Um, and so it's like this cross section of like all the stories that I was able to get out in like 5 years, or 6 or 7. And there were more, like maybe 10 others that were like in the mix that they were like, ugh, cut this one, cut this one. And it wasn't that they went too far, but that they didn't kind of thematically link, and they were just poopy stories that weren't good.
I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure they were not poopy stories.
I mean, there's some, you know.
No, I highly doubt that. I so one of the standouts to me is Fairy Ring, which really devastated me, but
Mhm.
also has so much beautiful imagery in it. I mean, and I think, and you and I have talked about this before, like I think of like What Kind of Mother with there's a lot of really scary body horror in that, but it's
Mhm.
also so beautifully done. I mean, can you talk a little bit about Fairy Ring and like the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, totally. Um, I mean, Fairy Ring, it was published originally in a digital magazine called 34 Orchard, which is still going. Um, and they're great. And I read an article in the New York Times that was, God, this had to be like I have it here. When was it? Sorry. Um, oh, 2020. So like in 2020, there was an article about a drug resistant fungus or basically like a bacteria or something that was like funneling through retirement homes, like an illness that was not uh going away, and like it once it kind of like made its way into a retirement home, it was a massive problem. It was basically like a staph infection for uh elderly people, and any kind of I'm sorry, I'm blanking on words already. What is the thing? Penicillin? What is the
Yeah,
thing that, yeah, like they couldn't kind of obliterate this
like no
resistant.
antibiotic.
Yes, antibiotics. That's the word. Um, but and it was happening at the beginning of COVID, but it wasn't COVID. It was like this other thing. And like it was, and I just remember reading that article. And to be totally frank, my grandparents had been put into a retirement community, and I'm sorry, my grandfather was declining kind of substantially due to probable Alzheimer's, and his passing kind of happened at a point where like uh, we weren't able to be there because of the lockdown. It was really hard, really kind of rough kind of moment for our family. And all of those things, like, like it was, you know, I, s- this article was like, I kept it, like I have a bad habit of like clipping articles that like I'll read it and I'll be like, this is a story. There's a story here. And I'll cut it out and I'll put it in a file folder for a rainy day. And I'll be like, what's the story I want to tell today? And I knew that that article was going to be something someday, but I didn't know what. And it, in essence, kind of took um, the passing of my grandfather uh, to really kind of like root the story into something personable and something that like I want to, this is my way into telling that story, um and tell kind of like his passing, um and that was before Ghost Eaters, which, like for me, I had a like a mushroom phase, like a spore phase, and like this story was the kind of beginning of it, so that when I started writing, I think I wrote this story right before I started writing Ghost Eaters, or maybe even like in the like beginning of writing Ghost Eaters, before I even knew that the kind of culprit, quote unquote, of Ghost Eaters was going to be a mushroom. I like wrote this story, and then as I was writing Ghost Eaters, I was like, oh man, it's got to be a mushroom. Um, and it was like that was my spore phase.
I love like a good like spore book, so I'm all for it. And
Yeah.
I think that, I think at one point in the story you mentioned that like if interaction with loved ones can potentially slow down this infection. And I just thought it was like such a strong statement because I feel like so often when people we care about are in retirement homes or nursing homes, it often feels like we can't do enough because our life is still going and they're
Yeah.
kind of stuck there. And so whenever they do start declining or when they pass away, it's like, could I have done more to prevent this? Like, did they know how much I care? And so the imagery in that story was just so strong to me. I mean, I just really loved that story. My grandfather was in a nursing home too for Alzheimer's, and it just stops you and thinks like, can they still hear me? Like, can I slow this down if I'm visiting
Yeah.
and there for them?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's heartbreaking. And like, and then on top of that to be told you can't be physically present for this person. You can't
Yeah.
be there for them. You can't hold their hand. You can't be in
Yeah.
the room. It was tough. Um, and just to put a pin on it, but like my grandfather, he eventually passed away uh, at the beginning of me starting to write What Kind of Mother, um, and that like I was so close to him when I was a kid, when I was young,
Yeah.
um, and he was like one of the closest things to a father figure that I had. So like there's like it's just interesting how like you map out a certain kind of creative trajectory for these stories, but you also have to kind of map out a certain kind of familial, like this is who I was as a human being when I was writing these stories, and um, you know, a lot of that, you know, not so much Ghost Eaters, but like definitely Wake. I'm sorry, What Kind of Mother was first the passing of my grandfather, who passed away at the start of writing What Kind of Mother, and then my grandmother passed away shortly thereafter at the end of writing it, and it was just like, oh my God, like you know, this is we are people who are dealing with life, and life just has a way of happening regardless of what we choose to do or how we choose to kind of live our lives. And yeah, so Fairy Ring definitely kind of feeds into that idea.
Yeah, I could tell. I mean, it felt personal when I was reading it, so
Yeah.
I did really love it. I think the other thing that I can really tell in these stories, and I think this comes across in your full-length novels too, is like your ties to Virginia, your roots. There's a few stories that I can tell that from an Acquired Taste, but one in particular that I'm curious if we'll ever get a full-length novel about is Battlefield Seances. I really loved it. No pressure, but I would
Yeah.
read more of this story if you would give it to
Man,
me.
it blows my mind. Um, so that story, no lie, I wrote like in 2011, I think, and it just sat around. I tried to submit it to like a bunch of different things, and it just kept getting rejected. And then finally, Max Booth, well, please let me get this right. They had something called Dark Moon Digest,
Yeah.
Max and Lori, and this is like, God, that was like years ago. Um, 2019. Like I wrote that thing, I had it, and it just didn't go anywhere. It, like died on the vine. Like no one wanted to publish it. And then I started to kind of not reinvent like because of the Quirk books and the remaking, and like all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can start submitting stuff again. So I like dusted it off, like, and like submitted it. And then Max took it like almost 10 years later. So in the book, in Acquired Taste, that story is like the oldest by far, because I just wrote it at a point where nobody was paying attention to me and gave a hoot. And even then, even I mean, like it wasn't like in 2019, nobody knew who that guy was, and like nothing had come out really. And but Max and Lori they took it, and I was just so excited because I was like, oh my God, maybe I can do this again, like submit stories to places and get them out there. And But okay, that's all prelude. Forgive me. Um,
No, you're fine.
I am obsessed with the Fox sisters.
Yeah.
I love them. Their story is amazing. And I have tried so hard, time and time again, to like tell like a version of their story. And it just never floats. There's the story, there's the short story Battlefield Seances. But in 2015, uh, my writing partner and I for like film and TV stuff, this guy named Craig, uh, we got a mini major movie deal, which was awesome. Like we had this film that like this feature film that like had done the festival circuit, and it got almost a little attention. It didn't get much, but like it got us enough to like start taking general pitch meetings with like big companies. And there was this studio that was like, we want you to do what you do, but we want you to do it over here for us. And we pitched, I kid you not, we pitched like a Fox Sisters feature film.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. It was like it was such a dream come true because it was basically like this is it. This is the moment. And they took it. They gave us a deal where they were like write the feature like and we were off to the races. This was like 2015. And so and it was at a point where they were kind of throwing money at young independent horror filmmakers who were cutting their teeth like doing like micro budget indies. But then like they did the same thing for Robert Edgers. And like, like this is like pre Get Out, pre Witch, but like that was all kind of like coming up.
Yeah.
And we like almost caught like that tail wind and like they they hired us to write a feature film of the Fox sisters. And it was a period piece. It was like totally like them. And we submitted the draft and they were like, "Huh, this is great. We love it. But does this have to be historical? Does this have to be period?" And it's Hollywood, so like there's like you always have to kind of like be like, huh, okay. Um, and they're like, we like the story, but we want it to be set in a contemporary time period. We want it set present. So basically, like this whole notion of like the Fox sisters, who I mean, what, 1855?
Yeah.
Like pre-Civil War through the Civil War. Like it speaks to like a very specific moment of American history. And they were like, "Can you set it today?" And we're like, and like when the studio head gives you that note, you have to be like, "Huh, it's really interesting that you say that." Like, sure, yeah, we can do that. And it was like so soul crushing and heartbreaking, but we did it. We wrote a draft that was basically like scrapping all of the history, like turned the Fox sisters into these like hip, young, like, ghost busting, seance sisters. And then we submitted that draft and they're like, nah, never mind. And they just like fired us. So which is all to say, I've tried so hard to tell some version of the Fox sisters story. So just know that, like, you saying you want a novel length version of it, sure, yes, I'm
Okay.
in, I'm in, but you just have
Perfect.
to like convince someone else to like let me
Okay. You know how annoying I can be online, so you just give me some
do
names
it.
and I will bombard them.
And I will fan those flames like you would not believe.
Give me this book.
I'll be like, well,
Um,
Amber's ready. One
look,
book pre-sold.
she won't shut up about anything. Like, let her talk about it. I do want to open it up to questions for everyone else because we are, halfway into our meeting, if that's
Oh
okay with
wow.
you.
I am yammering. Sorry.
No, it's perfect.
But I did come up with an answer to your first question
Oh yeah.
about going too far. I think the one that goes too far is debridement. I think that one is probably the one that that's the one that I'm like, "Oh, okay, that actually feels wrong.
Yeah, that one's pretty dark and
Yeah.
kind of like WTF throughout it.
Yeah. Yeah. I that one I will cop to. Like,
Okay. That's the only one though.
that's the only one.
Okay.
I mean, like, Pump and Dump is weird, but like,
Yeah.
is it, does it go too far? Like, the Primate, like, I'm like, okay, that's dark. But like, Pump and Dump is like just a doofus dude dad who doesn't know. He's like, he doesn't, he's the terrible dad. And he's just like, what do I do? And then he becomes a cosmic breast milk monster.
I like how you're saying all this and you're still like, but it's not. I mean,
I mean, like, that's like, I mean, I don't know. Like, when you just think about it, it's just like, it's a dude who's like, what do I do with a breast pump? Like, it's just so goofy.
I
It's just so.
I but for some reason the idea of using a used breast pump, even if I can clean it, still just really gives me the ick. And I think that's a me problem,
Yeah.
probably. But when I was reading it, I was like, I'm uncomfortable. And then I kept reading. I was like, I don't like where this is going. And then it starts talking about like the black like milk. And I'm like, this is
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot for me to process.
Well, like when you're a dad and like you ask those stupid questions of like, what function do I serve? Like what, like, and it's just such a kind of like dunderheaded like binary way of thinking where it's like mom is the provide, like mom like offers sustenance and like keeps this thing alive. And what do I do as this like like I serve no function. And I'm not saying these are my feelings personally, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I've like had the like what do I do? What do I and like I don't know. Have you ever seen those breast pumps are so weird. They're like
Yeah,
I'm not,
they're
yeah.
they're
My
odd.
they're odd. And like my wife, who's in this house over there, way over there, like she had a breast pump and she put it on. And like, and I'm watching and I'm just like, this is the weirdest. It's just like, it's because it's like, and you're just like, what? It like, this is so weird. It's just weird. And I'd be lying. I mean, like, I, I, I feel like it is a natural question for any human being or maybe just a dude to like like to have the moment of like I want to stick my finger in the light socket or I want to like I want to do the thing that I'm not supposed to do. And when a dunderheaded dude dad is presented with a breast pump, I feel as if some at some point just the faintest echo of the question of like I wonder what would happen if I put that on. Like I'm not gonna say they do it and I have never done it but like the question gets posed like what if I put that on like
I'm sure a lot of dads put them on. Like I would,
are there any dads here who put on a
let's
breast
do a poll.
pump?
This is a safe place. You can disclose. Well, I just like I again like I don't think anyone went too far like in a bad way, but like some like in the fireplace, like I'm assuming what's in that broth is that
Ah,
baby.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I mean no spoilers but maybe
I mean we can
probably
spoil because it's book club, so
I mean yeah uh yeah.
yeah. I'm just always surprised. No, I just really appreciate when writers are like, I'm gonna commit and this baby is going in that broth.
um I can't I mean it's that's this maybe that's one of the stories that I'm worried about with the boys because they'll be like, "Did you?" I mean, like there's like a moment where I mean, if you're holding a baby, like there's just like moments where you're just like, I'm holding this the like the life of this thing is now in my hands, and I'm not saying, God, am I saying this? Like, I'm not like I didn't like walk by a fireplace and I was like, but like there's just moments where it's like, what am I not supposed to do? Like, what are the lessons that I have learned that it's like, okay, you don't do that. You don't throw a baby in the fireplace. You don't like. Like, I don't know, like you just, but those questions are there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
Am I
that's fine.
like
I think
exposing way
no,
too
no,
much?
no. I have like I think everyone has occasionally like a true intrusive thoughts where you're like, I could throw this baby in that fireplace. And you don't do it, but maybe you think it
Oh God.
just for a passing moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It makes
Yeah.
life exciting, if anything.
I feel like we should just ask questions, and we ask these questions of ourselves, but maybe we keep those questions private and inside. And if you're like me, you then pose those questions on the page and get it out of your system. Oh, I've answered it for myself. I don't have to put on a breast pump, but this guy did, and like all of like that it's out of my system now. I never need to put on a breast pump.
Well, I mean, your kids are grown, so I think if you did it at this point, it might be a little,
Like,
a little
they're like,
weird.
what's dad doing?
Yeah, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but I don't know. I might have questions.
Oh man.
Um, with that, if anyone has questions, or if you want to admit to wearing a breast pump, please let us know.
Hi, Clay. I don't know where I am on your screen, but
You're
yeah,
right next to me.
excellent. You're right next to me on mine. That's cool.
Mm.
So, I mean, I did think from the first sentence of the fireplace, I was like, oh, we're in for a ride. And I feel like you could teach a whole class on that first sentence because it's just the baby in the fireplace, but it's like it popped into my head a month or two ago. It's like so nonchalant. I love the combination. But I think maybe if I hadn't read Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, I might have been more scarred by Acquired Taste. But I think Wake Up and Open Your Eyes
Yeah.
absolutely goes there. And to something we were talking about earlier, I'm very happy that we had three of your books this year. Like, there's no saturation there. I'm like, that is great. I loved
Oh,
all of them. I think next
thank
year
you.
you have two, or is there any like
Yeah.
secret third one that's going to surprise us?
Just the two. Just the two, I
I mean,
swear.
I'm that's any more than one is always good. So yeah, very happy with that. I've got like a couple of questions for you. One is like when I'm writing novels, I agonize about various things, you know, structure down to sentences. But I feel like when I'm writing short stories, it's easier for me to just get in and finish the thing. I was
Yeah.
curious. So my first question for you is do you notice a difference in your style of writing between longer stories and shorter stories, or is it fairly similar?
Um, it's a good question, and I feel like I I get to jam a little bit more with the stories. Um, I I mean it's interesting. When I first started writing short stories, I would agonize over every sentence. And like it's funny because like my first short stories were really short. They're really like 5 pages, 10 pages at most. But like usually like they clocked in at like 5 or 6 pages. So they feel like very kind of like small. Um, but the older I've gotten, I wouldn't say it's less being less precious about them, but there is a certain kind of like I I always think in these kind of like musical terms. Like I don't play any musical instruments. I wish I could, but I imagine that like when you're a band and you start like putting together an album or you're writing songs, like there's a certain kind of noodling phase of like, here's this chord and we're just gonna play this chord for a while and it's gonna lead to there's gonna be like all of a sudden like you add the rhythm and like the tempo like it kind of the song builds itself out of these kind of like either improvisatory or just like there's a certain kind of like impulsive noodling that kind of leads to the story. And for better or for worse, I'm always on the fence. I I let the kind of noodle like there's like an overriding concept like uh a man is haunted by a bad batch of baby carrots. Okay, let's noodle with that. Like let's go for it. So like there's like the initial kind of
Mhm.
concept and because these stories are predominantly first person narrative, the narrator is always like, "Hi, here we go. I'm going to tell you this story." And so like that's my noodling. Like I'm just letting these characters kind of spin their yarn and it can last for pages now. Like, it's just like I'm thinking less about structure and more about like I am telling you, dear reader, this story, and it's usually like that character, that narrator needs to get something off of their chest. Like I didn't murder that person, or I didn't, like whatever it is. It's like the need, the drive to tell the story is the in fact the story,
Mm,
and that kind of noodling uh, preempts structure. So then like I let the character, let the narrator tell their side of the story. And then I step back and I'm like, okay, well, where's the story? Like, how do we find the story and kind of like finesse it? And it's led to maybe a little bit more long form stories or kind of like stream of consciousness. Um, but yeah, I worry less about structure when it comes to short stories. Um, but it's more about like giving voice to a character who has a like a very specific perspective and they might not be the best person to tell this story, but they're the one where that's the card we've been dealt. And I just find that really interesting because it's like first person is great because you're not only getting a story, but you're also getting character by way of that
mhm.
narrator telling the story. Um, I don't know. So yeah, it's a little bit looser and free form. And I permit a certain kind of uh chance of failing. Like I've written plenty of stories there. It's like, well, didn't land that one. That one's staying in the shelf or in the desk drawer. And that's okay because I lost 6 days a week, 10 days, like didn't get it, but not the end of the world. If that happens with a novel, I am verzucked. And so I have to be more mindful of structure and, you know,
Mhm.
scaffolding.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah, yeah. You're right with a short story. It's sort of they almost feel like guitar solos sometimes. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, I'm not responsible for the whole album at this point.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just gonna do some stuff and it may
But
work out.
but wouldn't it be so cool then to like say, oh, I have amassed X amount of stories and this is my album. Like this
Hmm.
is, like I just love that. Like it the stories kind of communicate with one another. There's a conversation between one story and the next. Like it's like you have to think of it as an album because you're playing it from the beginning. Like
Yeah, now
I
you're sequencing the stories and everything like
hmm
that. I mean,
hmm
this, I know you said like these are all published in different places first, but this feels extremely coherent as a collection. I think this is my favorite, like single author collection of short stories. Like it's because it does feel like that, like they're all it's very varied, but it feels like it's a collection that they all
yeah.
belong together. And yeah, so no, I think I love it. Mm,
But I mean, I'm honest. Like these, like I'm fortunate because it's like someone said we're gonna take this period of your life, and
mm,
this is your output from that period, and we're gonna collect them all together. So you see my obsessions, you see the things that I'm kind of dealing with or playing out in my head. Um, but it's like spread out through the course of like 5, 6, 7 years. Um, and I don't know, like I'll be very curious, like if I'm so lucky 5, 10 years from now, if I get another collection out, like what are my obsessions going to be for that kind of epoch or that kind of slice of my life?
that'll be super interesting. I'm looking forward to the next collection.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you briefly about Ghost Eaters,
Yeah.
the movie, because that's got to be so exciting. Like, I love the like Cargill, Derrickson, Levin collectors
Yeah.
and what they do. What's happening? How's that going?
It's going well. It's going. And
It's
I and
going.
I
Okay.
yeah, and I think that's honestly all anyone could ever hope for. Like as long as it keeps going, like because it's amazing how like quickly these things stop going. Like at any given moment, someone can say, we don't want to do this anymore. But at the moment, nobody is saying no. Everybody's saying yes. Um, I can't say whether or not I have actually, in fact, read a draft of the script, because that is not something I'm allowed to say. But if I were to say something like that, I'd say
Mm.
it's great. Um,
Just hypothetically,
just
yeah.
hypothetically.
Mm.
And
Mm.
um, there, the director who's also adapting it has a very busy production pipeline, and there may be a movie in in the queue before Ghost Eaters. So there's no set schedule yet. There's no timeline. Um, but it's either the next thing she directs or it's the second thing that she directs. I really, really hope it's the next thing she directs, but I think I might have to be patient
Mm.
and wait. Like, so it might be 6 months, a year. I don't know. Like, but but at the moment, everybody's saying yes. And that's super, super exciting.
Love that. I'm so happy it's happening. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank God everybody loved Black Phone 2, because
Yeah.
that because of the success of that, Scott Derrickson and Cargill, like they're like it's so funny how like Hollywood works. I mean, like every industry is like this, I'm sure, but it's like, you know, you are evaluated and judged by your successes or your failures. And when you succeed, you are able to do more. And, you know, because Black Phone was a success, they get to do whatever the heck they want to do. And for whatever reason, they want to do Ghost Eaters. And I'm just thanking my lucky, lucky, lucky stars that that's the case.
Awesome. I can't wait to see kind of that version of it. Yeah.
It's so wild.
Mm.
I'm like thinking of Josh Mallerman because Amber's here, and like I'm just thinking like friggin' Fraggedy incidents around the house just went so quick, and I was just like, oh, like I want to write something that someone's like scoops it up and it just has to be like do it tomorrow. Um, I mean, I also want to write incidents around the house, but don't we all? Ghost Eaters was at another studio with a certain production company that I can't name, but rhymes with Bumhouse.
Oh,
And they had it for 2 years. And they had a screenwriter, they had a director, they had a draft, they had a second draft. Uh, and every step of the way, it got a little bit closer, and it got a little bit closer. And then finally, someone higher up was just like, nah, I'm not going to do it. No. And then they killed it after 2 years. And it was devastating. This was like, they gave me the no in February of 2025. So, like, for 2 years, it was like getting a little closer, getting a little closer. And then finally, they're just like, nope, not going to do it. And it was just like so sad. And then by March, Sony Screen Gems came around because they found out um, quite, you know, like just like the miracle happened where like the person who needed to find out that it was available found out that it was available, and like within weeks, like a month, it like they scooped it up. So it feels like, Scott Derrickson is making up for lost time, but man, like those 2 years was like getting closer, getting closer. But this feels like the right version. Um,
yeah,
so yeah.
that's good.
Has anyone approached you about Wake Up and Open Your Eyes? Because I feel like that would be an extreme movie.
Can you imagine? No, nobody, not even in a million. No, no.
I mean,
I,
that book horrified me horribly more than any other book, including some Eric LaRocca books. And I'm like, still, I want to know what would the movie be like of that thing? Like,
I'm such an idiot about this stuff because like going into any of these projects, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the one. This is clearly commercial. This is clearly like like to the extent where I'm like, guys, like, and like like my representation, my manager, my like, they look at me at the beginning of like these book projects, and they're like, this is going to be a commercial, like you're going to do the thing that you're supposed to do that makes our job a lot easier, and we'll be able to sell the movie rights and do this. And I'm like, guys, it's a demonic possession like this is like ready made for you to do what you do and work your magic. And then I write it, and then they read it, and they're just like, "What the hell are you doing?" Like they're like, they get so mad at me every time, every time. Um, what kind of mother? It was the same thing where I was like, guys, this is. I was like, I went into that with the intense like this is my commercial beach read. Like this one's gonna be the one that like you get to do all the things that you want to do, and and then I wrote it, and then I'm just like, God damn you, Clay! Like they just like they get so mad at me because I keep mucking it up.
Is it
What?
like too dark? Are they saying it's too dark, too bleak? Like what's
Well, something like what kind of mother is like
I,
too weird,
okay.
and then yeah, well, I mean, wake up and open your eyes is too political. You know, for they'll go out with these projects. It's like you have a window where it's like before the book comes out, they'll submit it to a list of however many producers, and you know they get it before anybody else who wants it or is interested. And the feedback that we got with Wake Up and Open Your Eyes was like too political, too
Mm.
soon, too much now, too uh and in my mind I'm like, well, that makes it the
That's
perfect time.
that sounds like a reason to do it.
Yeah. Um the the films that have tried to do that, there's a film called The Hunt, uh, which was produced by Blumhouse. Uh, and that was like a very politicized project. And then you watch it and you're like, because like basically like they as soon as they advertised it and like there was a trailer, I think, people were like, oh, this is making fun of Republicans or the right-leaning individuals. And they got very like they basically like Universal got cold feet, and they like pulled it off the release date, and like it wasn't until much later that they like kind of like
Mm.
quietly put it out. And then you watch it and you're like, this is toothless. Like there's like the kind of whatever kind of politics the movie itself is peddling, it's very quaint. um yeah, but it's if you want to do like a studio movie,
Mm.
uh you have to pull a lot of punches. So,
Yeah.
but like when I was writing Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, I was thinking this is like Evil Dead. Like it just feels like an Evil Dead movie, just with now.
Yeah. I mean, it came across like you read it and it, it would work so well as a movie as well as it does as a like in a as it does as a novel. But yeah,
Nobody, nobody, crickets. I think
cowards.
we took it to Blumhouse, and like literally they laughed. They didn't like they weren't like ha ha ha, but like Ryan Turek there was just like he's like it's a great book, but no. Like there's like there's just like it's like yeah, nah. Like that was the kind of general consensus with Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. Still available if anybody out there wants to take it.
I'm just gonna go form a production company real quick. Yeah.
uh, I will hold on to those rights when you're ready.
Mhm. Clay, we're at the top of the hour, but do you have time for one more question? If
Yeah.
anyone has it. Okay, cool.
Can I ask a silly question?
Oh my God. There are no silly
Is
questions.
is Pastor Nat your bestie Nat Cassidy or
Good old Nate.
Good old Nate Cassidy. Um, I've had to stop using his name in books and stuff because I'm like, oh shit, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. I
I thought that was
called
funny.
you Nat. Um, yeah, but that was like, I mean, at a certain point, like it's more about the alliteration, Pastor Nat, and but I've never. I don't know if he knows about that one. I don't think he does. If it
I
was
think
like
I only made
Pastor
the
Nat
connection because
Cassidy,
we talked
then
about him.
yeah. He yeah, I'm writing something right now, and like I keep using Brian, Macaulay, and Nat, and I'm just like, oh, I gotta stop doing this. Like it's actually like I think the cute like the moment where I was like, oh, that's so sweet is gone, and now I have to like think of other names. I need another like someone needs to give me a list of names because otherwise I'm just gonna keep casting Nat and Brian Macaulay and stuff.
We've got 18 people here if you want to steal anyone's names. I think that's legal. I don't actually know.
Daisy,
Yeah. I think Tucker's a good one,
Mackenzie,
right?
Yeah,
Tucker,
Tucker.
Tessa.
Like, I love that story. I thought it was very entertaining. It reminded me very much of God, I can't remember what show it was where they did that as Tacoma FD. If you've ever seen that, I think they
Say
did an
what was it
episode like
called?
that. Tacoma FD. It's the guys who do Super Troopers, and
Oh
that
yeah,
it's
yeah,
hilarious show if you haven't seen it. But there's an episode in their newest season where it's like a similar thing. A religious group catches like stuff on fire because they're trying to do this crazy bonfire, and it's like, what?
yeah.
Come on, guys! Like, why are we doing that? But I thought that was very entertaining. But I will say, I think um, something about short stories, and especially the short stories that you did in this, like, serious question now, is you took a lot of these sort of intrusive thoughts. So it felt like an intrusive thought fever dream for sure. But you took a lot of these like real life, like life things that we like
Mhm.
obsess about. Like if I'm thinking about debridement, the idea of like if that happened to me, like would my partner like never want to touch me or look at me or be around me? And like that's terrifying to think about. And so I think that's the good thing about especially your short story anthology in this case is you took it to that point and then you were like, all right, now you take it from here. And we're left just to be, it wasn't a full-fledged novel where like everything's like ending and it's great. And you have this whole closure. It's like, here's your scary thought. I took it too far, not too
Yeah,
far, but I took it far. And then now you get to live with it. And now that I think
yeah,
that's the scary part about that is now we're stuck thinking, what if, right? Like, what if baby
yeah.
carrots haunted me? Or like, what if my partner leaves me if I get this flesh eating bacteria and my leg is gone now? So I thought that it was very a very well done. I agree with Darren. Very well done short
Oh
story
man,
collection.
that's amazing. I mean, debridement again. It was like my grandparents lived like my grandparents' neighbor. Like there was a dog, like a child, like an adult child, like the child of the people who lived next door. Uh, the son contracted a flesh-eating like bacteria, and I never saw those neighbors. Like the house just remained shuttered. Like people lived there. There were people inside the house, but the windows shades were always down and they never came out. And I remember being like, who lives next door? And, very matter of factly, like someone saying like, oh, uh, there's a family that lives there, but their son contracted a flesh-eating bacteria, and now like he doesn't come outside because his body has changed. And I just remember hearing that as a kid and just being like, "What is that?" And I just held on to it for years and years until finally I wrote a story for Fangoria magazine, and they took it. And yeah, it's wild how like these things happen in your life and you just hold on to them and they
Mm-hmm.
gestate or mutate into something else.
Yeah. Well done. It scared me, and I still think about it now.
Sorry. Thank you.
Well, Clay, you can't escape me because our January haunting is ghost eaters. So,
Yay.
uh, we will be talking about ghost eaters in January.
Hot damn.
And then I'm sure that we'll have you back next year for your other books that are coming out if you'll join us.
I mean, just know that like if like the second you're like, do you want to? Just know that the immediate answer is just going to be yes. no matter
Okay.
what. Like just I'm in whenever you guys want to. Um, I have to go hard on Devil Inside next year. I'm right. I like Roto Horrormance. Like I need to like prove to a publisher that I can like sell books. So I think I'm gonna be in like obnoxious kind of like promo mode all year for that book. Um, but yeah, it's a dark. It's again, it's like I thought it was like a real commercial thing, and it was gonna be like this like it's like like romance, like Twilight. And then I learned because people who have read it are like, Jesus, this is really dark. It's really, apparently, it's really dark. And I have no moral compass anymore because I have no idea what's dark anymore. But it's a love
I'm
story.
I'm very excited to read it. So I'm looking forward to
Mm,
it.
okay, dope. Then I'll see you in August.
Oh, yay. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I know you had a busy day, so we really appreciate you joining us
This
tonight.
is the best. Like, honestly, this is the best. Like, you guys are the best. Like, I don't know. I never ever want to take for granted the fact that like you all wanted to like show up. So thank you.
Of course, no, always. We're looking forward to it and looking forward to about Ghost Eaters too.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give them a couple years. Mm, too long.
Too long.
Too long. These
Too
things.
long.
Ah. But believe me, when there's a date, when there's something out there, I'll let you know. And I'll see you
Well,
in January.
yeah, it's so exciting.
Yay.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Happy holidays, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Right.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.